quest for knowledge. Fear not, I am your spirit guide. There is a lesson you must learn. I speak of a deeper wisdom. The problem is that the mind is always chattering away with 1,000 thoughts at once. Clarity is the path to inner peace. Your mind is in a state of readiness, so listen well.
Hey, it's 20OK87. I made 4 videos today, and I took each video, put it all on Windows Movie Maker, edited out the best parts, and made one really good video. And that's how I usually make my videos. I talk as long as I can, or I make different videos at different parts of the day when I'm free, and then I edit it later, and it comes out to be a pretty good product. Like, it doesn't have too many errors or mistakes, because these sons of bitches on YouTube pick away at your every single mistake. They won't hesitate to let you know where you've messed up, right? So I tend to really like edit my work very well, you know. But then you go and change the title. It was from a very diplomatic title to now, I think the title now is you don't know shit about African Americans. Okay, man. Alright, listen, homeboy 306. Hey, listen, that name, you gotta tell me what the fuck, I mean, where did that name come from? What's that all about? What does that name mean, really? But it's hard to remember. 303653, I think it is. I'll answer your questions. Short and sweet, short and simple. Do you think you understand being black and African and American? Do you understand being black and American? I'm black. I'm in America. I do to an extent, but not fully, because I haven't been through exactly what you've been through. So not fully, but I can empathize. I kind of know. Do you think you know what we went through? Like I said, I sort of do, not fully. I piece it together here and there from my own personal experiences and just from worldly knowledge. For example, I've been following up on the greatest heavyweight of all time, Jack Johnson. I think he's the greatest heavyweight of all time. His story is incredible. 1910, he was the first African American or black heavyweight champion of the world, and the guy was persecuted. His life was made miserable because he was simply black. Whites not only had mental superiority back then, but they also thought they had a physical superiority. They thought they were gods amongst men. Like, I saw pictures of a white guy kicking back on a lawn chair with an Indian guy manicuring his toes and another Indian guy fanning him. This was colonial era in India, right? Excuse me for a sec. This is unedited, so if I make mistakes, don't hold it against me. I'm just talking whatever comes to my mind. But yeah, so I'm going through his life story. It's an incredible story, and he not only won the heavyweight championship of the world, the first black man to ever do it, but he rubbed their faces in it. He rubbed their faces in it hardcore. He started dating white women. He went out in public, bought flashy cars, flashy rides. You know, they called him sport. He was the first. How could you describe him as? He was the first African American in the public eye to defy what they thought of as African Americans. For a boxer, usually boxers are very punch drunk. He was a very well put together person. He was very witty. He was on point. He made smart financial decisions, although it didn't work his way in the end because, well, to be quite truthful, honest, the man, the system, really was after him. You know, today when people are paranoid and they're like, yo, the man's after me, for Jack Johnson, the man was really after him. They made up laws. they passed laws in Congress to fuck over his life. Something called the Mann Law, where it was made illegal for a person to be trafficking women for what do they call it? For I think the exact term used was God damn it. Anyway, forget it. So I do empathize. Like I do know what you guys have been through, to answer your question. The third one was, you touched on identity, African American identity. What is African American identity? Are you guys black? Are you guys African American, Afro American, or just American? Man, even you yourself, you're not fully black. You're part something, right? Part Native American, part Irish, part something. Whites, they don't call themselves European Americans. They call themselves Americans. If you go to a white guy today and you say, "Hey, you're European, right?" He'll get offended. He'll be like, "Fuck off, man. I'm an American. I have European heritage." He might say I'm part Irish, part Italian, part Belgian, part something, but he won't say I'm European. He's fully against that. Why should you, who are not even like 100% African, who some of you are Octoon, like you're 1/8, what, like an eighth African, claim African descendants? Although you are of African descent, you are not wholly and fully African, so your identity is ambiguous. You should call yourself American. That's what America is. Paul Mooney, African American comedian, or an American comedian, I should say, very funny guy. He said white people only look at their family tree. They never touch it or shake it, because if they do, a nigger might fall out. And to be, to be fully honest with you, a lot of Americans have African blood in them. And when I say Americans, I mean of European descent, quote unquote. Then they're not really of European descent. They're of like a mixed descent. Native American, African, some European, some Pacific Islander, and they happen to look white, so they've passed, as they say. The one drop rule is bullshit, I think. Identity as far as race goes in America is bullshit. You can't say you're white or you're black or whatever, because you guys are just mixes of everything. If it goes on to how you look, really, is it just how you look? Then you have families of individuals who are fully white, and then others who are not so white, and then you would say that this guy's black and this guy's white, even though they're from the same family. You should check out a movie called The Human Stain with Anthony Hopkins. It's possible for two black parents to have a white child. In that case, the white child would he be white? Why wouldn't he be African, even though the majority of his genes are of African descent? It's mixed up, just like how Americans are mixed up. They're mongrels. Same with this guy, James Watson, the geneticist, very famous geneticist. He was co-founder of the structure of DNA, a co-discoverer actually of the double helix. He got into some hot water a couple of months ago, where he said some borderline racist shit. Actually, it wasn't even borderline, it was full out racist. He said something along the lines of, you can't treat Africans the same way as you treat Europeans because they're not like us. Something to that extent, more or less. And he got in trouble for that. Think about James Watson being a geneticist, doing experiments, and in his research, he, like most scientists, had a hard time finding test subjects, volunteers, because number one, they're very expensive to actually hire. Of volunteer, you can get paid up to $2,000 for 3 days for clinical research as a volunteer, right? Kind of takes away the meaning of volunteer, but anyway. So what he did, James Watson, for a lot of his past research, is he used himself as a test subject. And then when he published his research, when he published his work, other scientists scrutinized it. So other scientists got a hold of his blood, his DNA. And a couple of months ago, when he made this huge controversy, his blood, an Icelandic team of researchers who had his genetic code, I guess you could say, which he made public in numerous publications years and years before. They found out after screening his DNA that he has 16 more times African blood than the average European. 16. So that means that one of his great grandparents was black. He himself is part black. James Watson. and here he is going on about European supremacy. Really, it's funny and it's ironic, and he didn't know that. He found this out later. Anyway, he's an old senile man. He's about 80 years old, but he's just proving my point. Americans are so mixed that it's hard to pinpoint their ethnic identity. You can't say an American is fully European today. It's very hard to find an American who's fully European, although they'd like to think it. Same with Africans. If I look at an African American like yourself, it's very obvious that you're not fully African, right? So just call yourselves American. Alright? Alright, man. Take it easy. I'm done. I think I'm just under 10 minutes.